So here we go for a third time. This one was a hard one. Dead Rising 3 was a launch title back in the Xbox One era in 2013, and I was excited to replay it. I played it back in the day in co-op, and unfortunately we stopped right before the last mission. So I was excited to actually finish the game. This is literally the first time playing it in like 10 years. So I was really excited, and then I started playing, and I was getting less and less excited throughout the game. So here are my main complaints. So let's start first with the major changes to the formula. The first big change is the controls. Nick controls completely different than Frank and Chuck. Like in the last two games, Nick runs like a baby rhinoceros and is impossible to control. Add on to add that a sprint button, you just hold down the right bumper and Nick will just take off like the Flash, but with zero handling. So Nick is impossible to control when you're running most of the time. In like the first 15 levels, he's literally impossible to control, and he gets stun locked every time a zombie breathes on him. So you add those two together and it makes a great time. And with the second big change, the map, it's even better. You see, the main gimmick in Dead Rising 3 is the combo vehicles. Like in Dead Rising 2, you had the combo weapons. Now you upgrade that to combo vehicles. And just like in Dead Rising 2, half of them are useful. But that's not the main issue here. The main issue is the map. Unlike the last two games, we're not in a mall. We have a sprawling city here with 4 different boroughs, I guess is what you would call them, and a big highway connecting them, which on paper is a great idea. You have a bigger map, you have more time, so what can go wrong? Well, fucking everything. Everything can go wrong. You see, what they did was, I don't know if it was intentional to I don't know if they did it intentional to extend playtime or frustrate. I doubt it was to frustrate people, because what they did was place roadblocks every 25 feet, so it degrades the vehicles, because you get in a vehicle, you drive for 25 feet, you get out of the vehicle, and you find a different one, or combo a different one, which there's 500 fucking motorcycles and steamrollers right next to each other, so it's... What are we doing? What are we doing here, Capcom? But yes, the map is designed like absolute shit. There's just so many unnecessary roadblocks to where it's just frustrating, and it's not a compact space. Like in the other two, it was a compact space and it flowed really well. There was different themes to different parts of the mall in both games. You had the Wonderland Plaza or the food court, or even the casinos, which were whatever, in my opinion, but they were something. It added color, it added stuff to the map. The color grading is literally gray. That's the only color in the game, is just gray and brown and shit all over. The mall had direction, it had flow to the mall. It had, if you got lost, it was very easy to find a different location of the mall. And this, I checked the map 400 times. Even later in the playthrough, I was still checking the map because I still had no idea where to go. And it just seems like they wanted to make an open world game, but they didn't want to make it open world, so they just made it open enough to consider it an open world game. The final huge change to the formula is the safe houses. Instead of being one central safe house, there is now several in each of the little districts. Instead of escorting survivors and survivor missions back to the safe house, you just don't. Most of the survivor missions are clear the horde of zombies around, they say thank you, they give you some XP, and then they run away. And that's what they do. Escorting survivors aren't really a thing, because even once you do escort back to the safe house, you just kind of get in a vehicle and drive away. That is the meta. That's how you do it. And the game is like, oh, you did it. Good job. The side missions are absolutely brutal in this. They're not fun. They're fetch quests like the other two. And I was wondering halfway through why I liked the other side missions in the other games so much is, and I realized it's because each side quest that required you to go get an item and bring it back, it was either like right outside or it was in the next store. It was somewhere in the same general location. And this, in the side missions and even main missions, it will have you take you to like entirely across the map, which is just plain awful because the map again sucks. So it takes you about 45 minutes to get to the other side of the map, and then you have to bring it back, and then you have to escort them back to the safe house. But haha, just kidding, you don't actually have to escort them back to the safe house because they just find their fucking way back somehow. So why even put them in the game? That doesn't make sense. If you're gonna half-ass it, don't do it at all. I didn't mind the survivors in Dead Rising 2. They were a little bit too easy. Dead Rising 1, they were challenging because the AI was garbage, but that just added in a different challenge. I don't know, maybe you guys liked it. I didn't like it, so that's a lot of changes. And also, something I also forgot to say about safe houses is that they added weapon lockers. So you basically go up to the weapon locker, just decide to pull a giant combo weapon out of your ass, and then you use it. You can use every single thing in the game. You can use wacky shit, but it's kind of like, why do that? Because there's usually a safe house right in the area that you're in, because there's a good amount of them. And so why in a pinch just use a fucking workbench or a table or whatever, and it kind of just takes away some fun out of it and makes the game really easy. The technical problems, again, are an issue, just like the first two. Not much the crashing in this time, but the frame drops. I played this on the original Xbox One that I had, and it was struggling in most sections. Most of the time, when you use too much fire, or even simple as completing an objective, the frames drop to abysmal ratings, and they come back just like that. There's also so much pop-in that is kind of insane. Just driving around the city, you get pop-in. Just walking around, pop-in. Cutscenes, pop-in. This is easily the worst optimized game of the 3 so far. I have not played 4 in 10 years also, so we'll see how that goes, but I hope they do something better. Because the first 2 I can kind of excuse. They weren't built for the next-gen consoles. They weren't built for the Xbox One, the PS4, or the PC. So I kind of can forgive some when you port that over to a next-gen console like the Xbox One. But this was built for the Xbox One. The reason they couldn't put it on the Xbox 360 was because they added too many zombies to the screen, which was a big thing that they always push. I don't care that there's however many zombies on screen if everything fucking pops in every time I try to run somewhere. I would rather have an optimized game, a normal 60 FPS, than 5,000 zombies on screen. So that's just my opinion, and I think it looks like shit. The level up system has changed as well. Instead of the other 2 where the game decides what skill is upgraded, you get skill points. However, a lot of the levels feel wasted. Besides the first couple skills in the skill tree, they take 1 or 2 skills. The later skills take 3 to 4, even 5 skill points to unlock a skill or an extra level to whatever skill. So I believe the last life thing, the last life point is like 5 skill points. And the last like inventory slot is like 6. So a lot of levels feel useless. You don't get combo cards, you don't get anything, and that's another big change is the combo cards. Instead of combo cards, there is blueprints now. There's blueprints just scoured everywhere throughout the city, and like Dead Rising 2, there's only like 5 or 6 of them that I actually used or cared about or even like wanted to make. I didn't go out of my way. I literally only collected like 50, 60 of them, and there's like 100. So, yeah, those are my complaints about the changes and the technical problems always in these games. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed the other 2. If you want to play it for yourself for whatever reason, it is on Xbox. It usually is on sale 9 times out of 10. It's on PC. I don't know if the PC port is any better. I heard that it is also trash. And so that's the basic review. If you don't want to listen to spoilers or anything, the story isn't very good. So let's just talk about it. So the story begins 72 hours after the outbreak in Los Perdidos. Why 72 hours? Why not at the start? I don't know. To set up twists later, maybe? But the twists aren't very good, so let's just continue. We meet our main character, Nick. He is looking for a way out of the city and stumbles into a quarantine zone. After a little tutorial, he realizes that the area is full of zombies in cages. How did they get into the cages? I don't know, but they're there, and there's a lot of them. And Nick gets scared. Nick reaches the end of the zone and finds that there's no way out. It says he has to get back to the diner. As he's retreating, the zombies break out of the cages. Oh no! Nick gets scared and runs away. For some reason, the zombies just appear outside, even though there was none there 10 seconds ago. Nick jumps off a bridge and dies. Just kidding. Nick gets up, sees a random fucking plane crashing, and gets knocked out. Nick wakes up, says he has to get back to the others, just in case we forgot, and starts running. He makes it back to the others, and we meet the other characters. Rhonda, a fellow mechanic, Annie, a goth chick, Dick, a dick, and Peter and his mom. Annie takes some Zombrex, and Rhonda yells at her. In this universe, everyone is supposed to get a Zombrex chip that doses people with Zombrex when they get bit, so there's no more zombies. But there's zombies, so something didn't add up here. People like this are called illegals. Dick yells at them to shut up, and then continues to play a jukebox, which is still plugged in for some reason. Peter's mom says she doesn't want to die, then fucking runs out into the horde, dragging Peter in. Rhonda is so upset about these two's death, she closes the door on them. God! Rhonda says let's go to her garage because for some reason we aren't there already. Annie leaves, saying she has people waiting for her, and the remaining 3 leave for the garage. The 3 drive through the city, finally making it to Rhonda's garage, and once inside, they get attacked by a super secret zombie. Once they kill him, Nick notices that the zombie was chipped. Oh no! Rhonda gives off some stupid exposition and tries to get the TV to start. As soon as Nick starts to explore, he finds a transceiver on the zombie that appears broken. He listens to Jamie, the new Jessie, or Stacy, or whoever you want it to be. He is only in the game to give side missions, and he does not affect the story whatsoever, so what's the point of him? I don't know. Once Rhonda fixes the TV, the 3 watch. The news reporter says that the president is missing, and then a bad military man starts talking. He pushes the Zombrex chip in the middle of the zombie apocalypse, then says, guess what? Los Perdidos will be firebombed in 6 days, just like the other 2. Thank God for originality. Rhonda has a funny line.
Destroying all organic life within the city limits.
What the hell? I am freaking organic life right here.
Then they are told to go to the quarantine zone. How are they supposed to get there? Who cares? They're just supposed to go there. At this point, Rhonda and Nick have a great idea. They make a combo vehicle out of fucking nothing. After making a makeshift tank, the 3 drive to the quarantine zone. Dick disappears for a moment while these biker assholes terrorize Nick and Rhonda. After they take Rhonda into the back room for some strange activities, Nick meets the big boss biker. He kills him and gets sad because he's never killed anyone before. Unless you fought the Chinese man 30 minutes ago, then this doesn't really make sense. After leaving the quarantine zone, they then get shot at by a stormtrooper. Nick thinks he recognizes the man, and he does. It's Diego. How Diego not see or shoot them standing 10 feet away? I don't know. They even say 10 seconds later that Diego purposely came here to find Nick, so how'd he not recognize him? Who gives a shit? Anyway, Diego says that a collector donated an old plane to a museum and asks Nick if he can fix it because Nick can do fucking everything. Diego goes to show Nick and crew the keys and drops them. Oh no, Diego is a bumbling idiot. Nick reaches down and gets bit. Rhonda tells Nick to find some Zombrex in a crematorium and they leave for the plane. Wait a minute. If Nick is the only one who can fix the plane, why leave him to go find Zombrex on his own? If someone goes with him and they don't find any Zombrex, then they know that Nick is dead and won't come back with the fucking plane. So they can literally make another plan instead of just waiting there and dying to firebomb. I don't know. Nick goes to the crematorium to get some Zombrex and he meets Gary. Gary works for a mob boss and says that he has to find a body in the crematorium. Okay. Gary says that Nick should help him because he knows where Zombrex is. Somehow. Nick agrees. And so Nick agrees. Gary says that he's looking for Nicole White, whoever that is, but she's not in the right box thing? I don't know what these are called. I wrote box thing. I don't know. That was a placeholder, and now this bit is going on too long. The two find a body, and Nick thinks it's Annie. However, Nick, bodies don't fucking decompose that fast, you stupid idiot. Gary notices that they are all out of Zombrex, then a funny cutscene happens.
Just hurry.
All right, okay, I'm hurrying. Coming right up.
Oh my God.
I think the safety's on.
Can I see the gun? Let me see the gun.
By the way, you're welcome.
Will you just do it?
Okay, I'll do it. I'm not the best shot. Give me a moment. Oh. Shit. That was my last bullet.
Gary says that Nick's wound is healing itself for some reason and doesn't need any Zombrex anymore. Well, thank God Gary is the best doctor in the world. Gary then tells Nick that if he continues to help him, his boss can get him parts for the plane. Once taking the body back to Gary's boss, he says that she was the wrong body. Well, that's unfortunate. Gary then asks Nick to find Annie. Nick hesitates, then says that he has to ask Rhonda, but he doesn't say her name to keep the twist secret later, I guess? Once returning, another funny cutscene happens.
She needs me. Let the guys down. Fucking AWOL? Yeah. And you know what they do to traitors, man? No, man. What? Oh, man!
Nick tells the three about Gary's proposal, but doesn't say his name either. Rhonda tells him to do it, and then sends him to the illegal safe house to get Annie. Once making it to the safe house, a dumb cutscene happens.
Whatever it is, still alive.
Hey, get me out of here.
All in due time, my brother. Are you a friend or a foe?
Hey, wait. I know that guy.
Hi, Annie.
What are you doing here, Nick?
I was just wondering if maybe you'd like to go to Ingleton with me. There's something there I want you to see.
I get it. Came here to rat me out to that guy who's looking for me.
Well, he won't get a chance to. See, around here, we exterminate rats.
Wait. He's okay.
Yeah, I swear, I don't know what I was thinking.
Now, how do we know we can trust this chump?
Nick then meets Red, a realist. Red doesn't trust Nick, but he wants to prove it to him. Red tells Nick to destroy some government stuff because guess what? They're the bad guy again and are killing survivors. Nick agrees to become a realist. After doing this, Nick sneaks up on Annie during a zombie apocalypse still, just like Jesse did in the first game, and Red busts in and says that he has an important message from Angel. Who's Angel? I don't know. Angel says that there are recordings of attacks on survivors at the police station, so Nick says he can go, and Red and Andy can go help Angel. So, the three split up. Nick makes it to the police station and sees one of the cops killing survivors. Nick acts like this is surprising, but Red literally just told us twice in the last 25 seconds. After killing the cop, Nick gets the recording and heads to meet Red and Annie and Angel. However, by the time that Nick gets there, Angel is dead. Oh no! My favorite character. Red is mad because he is a realist, and Annie goes fast and furious for a second.
Why? Look at her, Red. She was one of the family.
Red tells Nick that he's going to meet his contacts for the fuel and meet him back at the tower. Back at the tower, Annie gets scared by Nick, and Gary randomly appears. Then the military ambush and take everyone besides Nick. For some reason, there wasn't any zombies, and they didn't leave because Red was here, because Red wakes Nick up, and they choose to leave him there, so who cares? Red wakes Nick up and tells him that they took the others to the military camp. Nick asks for the fuel, and Red says to get them first. Then the two go to the camp. Once making it to the camp, Red tells Nick to sneak in. Why doesn't Red come with, you may ask? Well, to get an escape vehicle, of course. The harder one of the two objectives. Nick sneaks inside and finds a wheelchair lady, the scariest human beings. She is talking to the bad military man and says she's looking for someone. Then some other guy just brings in the president and he feeds her a worm, then she turns into a zombie. So I guess that's how zombies start. Fucking worms. The wheelchair lady says she wants Diego and says that they deactivated the chips. Who would have thought? The bad military man wants to make zombies a weapon, as all bad military men do, and the wheelchair lady yells at him. Then Nick gets discovered. Oh no! Red appears just in time to save them, and the crew escape. Red then shows Nick a flyer for the tattoo people, which I forgot to mention because I'm bad at writing scripts. And so basically Nick and Diego have a tattoo of a number on their neck, and now there's a $5 million bounty on them for all people that have neck tattoos of numbers. So I guess if you got a tattoo of a number, just a random ass number, good luck. Red then tells Nick to go get the fuel, and he does. After making it to the fuel, Nick finds a hive zombie. Don't ask, I don't know either. Then he drives the fuel back to Rhonda. She then tells Nick that Diego left for some reason, and that is a problem, because he still has the key. Why they didn't take the keys out of a bumbling idiot? I don't know. Rhonda then tells Nick her whole life story, which he quickly ignores. Rhonda tells Nick that they need some extra parts for the plane, then asks if he turned Annie in. When Nick says no, she says this?
To that man to get the fuel.
Let's just say I came up with a different plan.
You're one of the good ones, Nick.
Even though earlier she told Nick to turn in Annie to Gary, which confused me for a second. Anyway, who cares? Nick goes to the museum to find Diego, and he's a fucking astronaut now. He has PTSD or some shit, and we fight him. And after beating him, he's all better. We cured him. So that's the cure to PTSD. Just beat the shit out of him. He then tells Nick about Carlito's plan, because it is an exhibit in this museum. Not only does he mentioned in the museum, he has his own fucking section. Anyway, Diego tells Nick that the biker guys took the plane key. Of course they did. Once returning to the plane, oh my god, they painted it fucking pink. Well, holy shit, thank god they did that. Diego is still a bumbling idiot. And Rhonda reads a letter about the collector, who wanted to donate parts to the plane before the outbreak. Well, isn't that convenient? Nick goes to get the parts and the key. Nick brings back the last parts to the plane, and the plane turns on. Rhonda said that she's now leaving now that we finally turned the plane on, and now she wants to leave? What a dummy. She tells Nick that she wants to go find her ex. Thank God she doesn't say the name of her ex, and she says that she's going to return to her garage. The funniest cutscene in all of gaming happens.
Yeah. Shit.
Man, that chick is crazy. Come on. Let's get Annie and the others from the karaoke bar and let's get the hell out of here.
You take this, bro. I don't really trust myself anymore, you know?
Oh, hell no!
And Nick and Diego are captured by the bad military men. The wheelchair ladies tell some scientist dude to shoot a fucking laser into Diego, and he dies. Worm things spew out of him for some reason, and Nick becomes the fucking Hulk and breaks free. It's okay, boys, we're almost done. Nick, after breaking free, runs into Isabella. Remember from the first game? Nick wants an explanation for everything. She says there's no time, because of course there isn't, because this isn't the end of the game yet. The wheelchair lady sends her robots in, and this is the worst fucking cutscene, fucking boss fight in the game. This one boss fight frustrated me so bad, it took all aspects of my soul to not punch a hole through my computer. It was so and Nick tells Isabella to go back to the plane. After fighting the robots, the wheelchair lady gets knocked over, and she says that she'll get Nick as her warehouse burned down. The bad military man, I guess, saves her, and they both leave. Nick talks to himself and says that he's gonna go get Annie. Once getting to the strip club, I forgot to mention that as well, Gary doesn't want to let them in. But he tells Nick that Rhonda, guess what, is his ex. Well, thank God none of them mentioned their names before this point. Gary says the only way he'll let him in is if he brings Rhonda back to her. So we go to her garage and oh my fucking God, they cut her arm off. And then we combo Rhonda. That's what the prompt says. Combo Rhonda. Oh my God, what has this game become? And we take her back to Gary. Gary lets us in, and the two leave. We get Annie and go back to the plane. Isabella and Red run from way the fuck over there for some reason, and Isabella explains the plot of the first game. Red becomes a bad guy and steals Annie and Isabella. Red then says Nick in a funny way.
Nick!
After killing Red, Nick and Annie kiss, and the game ends. Just kidding, that would have been better. The biggest plot twist in all of gaming happens because, guess what? Gary's boss is Chuck Green, and Annie is Katie. What does this add to the story? Absolutely nothing. It doesn't add a thing. They all get in the plane and are about to leave, but Nick wants to kill the bad military man, because it's not Dead Rising without overtime mode. And he does. Game over. But wait, there's an end credits scene that shows Isabella started the outbreak to find whoever was immune to the zombie virus, and that happened to be Nick. Good thing the bad military men left Nick earlier in that one scene. She then smashes the laptop that the recording is on, and the game finally comes to a conclusion. Thank God. So that is Dead Rising 3 and my thoughts on it. It was not a very fun experience. I laughed a whole lot at the badness. The bad? Not much of the good. There was not much good. This video took me so long to make because I just didn't want to think about this game or talk about it. So I just didn't, and I put it off for a while, and I finally recorded it, and then my computer crashed, and I lost everything. So shout out computers. I really enjoy working on one. It's really fun. But if you do want to watch me stream, go ahead and go over to twitch.tv/Tyler Wano, however you say my name, and go follow that. I'll be streaming games on there, and then I'll upload them to YouTube on a new channel that I just made. Here it is. So I'll upload those VODs onto YouTube, and if you want to watch them there, you can. If you want to subscribe, I would really like if you subscribe to me. For some reason, the first Dead Rising video has 1,000 views, so shout out to all you fellows out there who watched that video and liked the video and also commented on the video. I did read all of the comments in that video and in the Dead Rising 2 video, and I will read them all in this video. So if you have anything to say, just drop it in the comments and I will read it. This video took me way too long. This video took me way too long to make because this game took a lot out of me and I didn't want to play it. So my final score, I'm going to start doing scores I guess now. I just made that up on the spot. Is a 5 out of 10. It's painfully average. It's not very fun. Probably, we'll change that. It's a 4 out of 10. Just ignore that 5 out of 10. It's a 4 out of 10. And that's the final rating. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have. And goodbye.